Now, the issue that's very important and that I'm going to leave you with before I speak about a few projects that we're going to start in the next few days is really, it's all about values. It's about respecting the other, having humility, making sure that we don't speak at people, but with people, that we work together as allies, and America can no longer walk alone. They need to have friends and build friends. So, of the projects that we are going to be developing, we have the LINK project, which was spoken about a few hours ago. And the LINK project is going to be a project that will link us together. I think there's a lot of things that we can do together, and a lot of things that we don't know that others are doing that are wonderful, and that we need to coordinate more about it. And Bob Wyman, in a few minutes, is going to come to make a presentation. Bob has an engineer team from Google that will dedicate some time in linking best efforts in different countries. Another project that we have that we're going to launch this week is the International Fund to Promote Culture of China and Tibet. What we saw in the last year has been really bad. Having the Olympics, all these young people train all their lives, and having this conflict about Tibet and China, and having this sort of momentum that should have been a glorified moment, it was really tarnished by our relationship and all the sort of the different behaviors of the country towards China. We all have human rights issues. I work a lot with the Chinese government, and I must say one thing, is that the first time I was there was probably 20 years ago. I would have never thought in the world that they would turn out like what they are today. They have problems, we have problems, and it's not by pointing fingers that we're going to get anywhere. We need to work with them, with many other countries together. China has come very far, and they are going to be investing $70 million for cultural preservation of Tibet. If you want more information about that, we wrote a piece on Tibet and China, and many pieces on the issue of the Dalai Lama, but I don't want to go into the details. But we have to make sure that whenever we point fingers, that we are beyond reproach. So the Cultural International Fund will start this week. We start with an exhibition in our museum in London with Wang Guangyi, and the theme will be Avoid the Next Cold War. So if you are in London, please come and see the exhibition, and then we will have different activities with the Tibet government and the Chinese government. We have as well projects to develop more the relationship between the understanding of the brain and the emotion and its impact basically on foreign policy, but using neuroscience. So, and as well, we're going to use neuroscience to work at better understanding the creative process with Professor Antonio Damasio. So we've started a bit this year. We will continue that because we think that there's a lot of solution that's embedded in neuroscience. So I will leave Bob to come up and show us 2 slides and to explain to us what this huge LINK project is about. And I want to thank you for coming and hope to see you next year. Thank you. Bob.
I know it's late in the day, so I'll keep this quick. First, let me just say I've spent, of course, most of my career being both in the commercial sector and also in the nonprofit sector. And I always find it almost shocking to move, say, from working at the office to, say, going and doing some work with a nonprofit. And in part, it's because of the tremendous difference in the amount of information in the environment around us. In the commercial world, I think we are always benefiting from a tremendous information infrastructure. We always can find out very quickly, because there are many people motivated to tell us who our competitors are, who our potential partners are, what are the best practices of others, what has worked for other people, what has not. Every newspaper you read, hundreds, thousands of websites all have this information on them. But the minute you get into the nonprofit world, you're in a very strange and bizarre world. Essentially, there is very little in terms of information infrastructure that allows people in the nonprofit or the NGO world to share information, to even discover who else is in their area, who they might partner with, what has worked in the past and what hasn't. It relies primarily these days on connections between individuals, and that can be pure happenstance. The result is there's a lot of duplication, there are a lot of tremendous opportunities that are lost, and a lot of it, I think, is simply because we haven't established the information infrastructure for sharing in that industry. And infrastructure in an industry is, of course, just as important as infrastructure in a country. So, very briefly, some of the things we'll be doing, starting in just a couple weeks, we'll be working hard to try to build that information infrastructure through the LINK project. There'll be some obvious things, a searchable database which collects as much information as we can find about the nonprofits and the related organizations that can contribute to the kinds of changes I think we want to see, as well as begin to aggregate comments on nonprofits and begin to try to build up a forum for vibrant discussion about the various organizations, what works and what doesn't work. Primarily, most importantly, what we'll probably work on, though, is what you see there is a rather cryptic technical line suggesting what we need are schemas. Essentially, we need ways to encode information in such a way that the information is very easy for many different organizations to share and to trade information back and forth, essentially to take what today are many, many small sites, each of which has excellent information in one area or another, and find a way through common schemas and common information technologies for sharing that information to build essentially an inter-database of links between the organizations. The goal being to try to bring the nonprofit and NGO world the same kind of robust information infrastructure that we have in the commercial world. And we're going to get started. It's going to take a long time, but we'll get there. This will be good work. Okay, thank you.